everyone who's joined our event today on Earth Day. Happy Earth Day!
Happy Earth Day!
We are celebrating today the launch of Decarbonize 2021. Woo! It should be an engaging, amazing, collaborative year of idea sharing and storytelling and art and investigating what the actual targets are of our country and holding our leaders accountable to reaching them. We'll be taking action, we'll be engaging in research. It's going to be an amazing year, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
And I think it's very appropriate that in many ways, although this is our 11th year, because last year we had to take the year off, this is in a very real sense the 10-year anniversary of ourselves connecting young people live to COP, connecting them to the leaders of the planet as they share the amazing work that they're doing, as they look to come alongside. And I think also very appropriate, it's not just the young people who are here, but in a very exciting sense, they have inspired the leaders of the world who are also gathering today. And we have some very strong commitments, right? We have President Biden, who is saying that they're resolved to take action as they looked at 50% reduction just by the end of the decade in terms of carbon emissions. Friends, we have had amazing work go on by the youth of the world. We've had amazing work go on by countries of the world. And we have amazing work that our planet is ready to take now.
And the exciting thing about the work that we're doing is it's not just around sharing our stories, but recognizing stories that maybe aren't heard in the conversation and really looking at the ways that what might work for mitigating climate change in our area might not work in other areas, and we need to hear the voice of those peoples. So as we are joining today from Canada, I want to say that I acknowledge the land that we're joining from. Terry and I are here today on Treaty 6 land in Canada, but I want to acknowledge all the land and all the First Nations people, the Indigenous peoples, and in Canada, we would say the Métis and the Inuit, and all the peoples on the lands that you call home, wherever you may be located in the world.
And we're building upon action. Friends, this hasn't just been action that's been taking for 10 years. This is action of people who have been looking to live in harmony with their planet for thousands upon thousands of years. So for us to understand some of the colonial frameworks that we have set up as we look to create a more just world, and then link this action to this wisdom that goes back thousands upon thousands of years and make that connection to the Indigenous people.
Now, Earth Day, the UNFCCC let out a statement saying that the world has woken up to the need to curb emissions and invest in climate resilience, but we all need to move faster down this path. The world needs leadership in climate change, and young people are stepping up to the challenge. And I mean, I can't hear another phrase that's more true. It's youth today that are really leading that charge, that are creating the energy, the momentum, and the advocacy that is leading nations to actually pay attention and make change.
Absolutely. 5 years ago, the planet came to a very special place in Paris at COP21, when they said, okay, we need to do something different. We need to take this. We're 5 years in, and this is the year of the action. This is the year that the countries are coming together and saying, okay, what have you done? And at that same time, we're going to have youth who are going to come along beside them in their own countries, connected through digital technology and on the ground in Scotland, and who are going to be sharing this is what we are doing and what we are going to do together.
Wonderful. I think that's a great transition to our friends Anam and Rebecca, who are joining us from the UK Cabinet Office. Now, the UK is hosting the presidency for the United Nations Climate Change Conference this year, known as COP26, which will be held from the 1st to the 12th of November in Scotland. Anam and Rebecca work with young people across the world to ensure their voices are heard in the planning of this conference. And Rebecca, I would love to invite you to sort of bring us your message from the UK and COP26.
Of course. Hi, everybody. It's lovely to be here. As Sarah said, my name is Anam Ahmed, and I'll shortly be handing over to Rebecca. Firstly, just to say, what an incredible event. Thank you all for coming together, and it's a real pleasure to meet you all. I'd also like to say that we are so excited to be here at the launch of the Decarbonize, Decolonize project on Earth Day. And we just want to recognise how fantastic it is that your projects span over 45 countries, from waste sorting to awareness raising in your local communities. The breadth of projects that you guys have been doing is really brilliant. And as Sarah said, we really value all of the positive actions that you're taking to drive forward real action on climate change. And in fact, looking at all of you guys here today, you have reinforced and demonstrated how important it is for Rebecca and I and the UK presidency to ensure that young people are included in all of our preparations for this big event that's happening later this year. So you're probably thinking, what is happening? So in November this year, world leaders are going to come together in Scotland, Glasgow, to make decisions to protect our life-giving but fragile planet. And this event, as Sarah said, is known as the United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, also known as COP26. So I'll now hand over to Rebecca, who will talk you through what the plans are for this event and how we'd like you guys to be involved. Over to you, Becca.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca. So the UK is hosting this event and we're focusing on 5 different campaign areas: nature, finance, transport, energy, and adaptation and resilience. There are ways that you can get involved in the lead up to the conference by sharing your fantastic work on our social media pages and by speaking at our upcoming events about why climate change is important to you. Please continue to inspire others in your schools and local communities so that you can show the world that young people are creating solutions and making a difference. You're vital in pushing all of us to go further by raising awareness, generating support, and asking us to do more. We want to thank you for playing your part in addressing the most important issue of our time, climate change, and would like to wish the 2021 cohort of Decarbonize students and teachers all the best with the year ahead. We're excited to hear how your project progresses, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to celebrate Earth Day with you all.
Thank you so much. We've been working very closely with Rebecca and Anam and her team in the UK Cabinet Office to really look at ways to include youth voice. Both of these leaders have been charged with reaching out to civil society in general, but to youth in particular, to say your voice is important. We want to know what your fears are, what your needs are, how we can help you and come alongside you in the work that you're doing to address climate change in your schools and in your communities. And now, at the UN, youth is often defined as 18 to 35. And to be honest, we know that many of your parents might actually be within that age range. And so it's always amusing to us that that's the range of youth on the UN definition. And now for us and with our partners here at the UK Cabinet Office, they understand that youth have so much to give before 18, that your voice is strong and that your passion is clear and there, and that if we come alongside you, your teachers, your schools, and us here at Decarbonize, that we can really make a real difference in the conversations and the changes that are happening in our countries.
And we just want to say a special thank you to Anna and Rebecca and their team, and that we have seen a very conscientious effort to engage youth under 18. And this hasn't happened. We've been doing this a long time, longer than most, and we haven't had that support. And so just a really special thank you to the UK Cabinet Office and to Anna and her entire team for the great work they're doing to make sure that as many people and contributors and stakeholders are at the table, because it doesn't happen by accident, and but it happens when it's facilitated by people with a vision like they have.
Wonderful. Well, we'd love to have, I know that they have to log on soon, but we'd love the chance for you to share a few of your projects with them before they go. And so we're going to roll right over into our first few student presentations. Now, the start of the list today is our friends in Colombia. And they were just part of our wonderful COP 2020 Decarbonize school presentation, did such a fabulous job. I want to thank again the team who was involved in that. And so welcome to our Colombian school. Oh, the internet is loading this slowly because of all these wonderful schools that have joined us. So we're going to start with Bogota, and then we're going to go over to our friends in Japan, a new school joining us this year, but they wanted us to sort of get a teaser for the work that they're already doing. And then we have our friends in Argentina. So we're going to do 5 schools, and then we're going to take a break and talk a bit about Decarbonize this year, and then move on with Brazil. So first up is our friends in Colombia. You're welcome to unmute your microphone.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. We are Sofía Ramírez, Ana María Vera, Ángela Garcia, and Andrea Yepes. We are from Bogota, Colombia, from Gimnasio Los Cabos. Well, some of the issues we are facing in Colombia are the contaminated and divided water because of the use of hydroelectrics. Most of Colombia's energies are from hydroelectrics. We also are facing the polluted air, the unnecessary waste of water, the excessive use of plastics such as plastic bottles, and the unsuccessful garbage sorting.
The solutions our school are taking, it's implementing solar panels. We're working on that. We have a natural reserve with native trees. We have school garden, drinking water filters to eliminate the use of plastic bottles. And we have a rainwater collector. We use this for cleaning and gardening activities. It's called Ecomuro H2O. And we have another one.
Okay, so we also have specific cans and recycling systems around the school so everyone can implement these activities.
Thank you so much, our friends at Bogota, Colombia. We're gonna roll over now into our friends from Japan. We welcome you to unmute your mic.
So hello everyone. To start off, we have 4 members, Anika, Haru, Nora from grade 10 and Kai from grade 11, representing our school, Horizon Japan International School. And this is Haru speaking, and we are located in Yokohama, Japan, near Tokyo. And these are some pictures from the left, our campus, then the playground, and one of our classrooms. This is our first time joining in this conference, and we are extremely excited and looking forward to making some new changes along sharing interesting and creative ideas.
So one of the most prevalent issues in Japan is its excessive production and consumption of plastic. In fact, it is the second generator of plastic waste, using 30 tons of fossil resources every year. We must also consider the process after this plastic short-lived consumption, where a majority of it is incinerated. This perpetuates an over-reliance on the fossil fuel industry.
Yes, so hi Jess, we're quite new in all this stuff. So right now, our involvement in taking climate action is led by the students in what we call service projects, which means that it's like individual solution that exists right now, but it's not yet systematic. So our plan is to unify the school into taking action, but we are still at the planning and identification stage. So as it is right now, our direction is going towards to implement a logical and efficient collection system at our school, because we're lacking in that right now. Yep.
Wonderful. Oh, sorry, Argentina missed your. Thank you so much, Japan. Welcome. We're so excited to see what how and what your school contributes this year. Thank you. Argentina, over to you.
Hello everybody, we are the Global School from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I am Isabela Calzado.
Hello, I am Sophie Montes de Oca. So this is our school. We are in lockdown right now, so almost everything that we've been doing for Decarbonize has been through Zoom, and we don't have much like recycling stuff. We don't have plus like to help out with the water. So I think that's we're going to try to fix that. Next slide, please. So the main issue regarding we chose regarding climate change was fires, because there have been a lot of fires, mostly these past few months in Córdoba and Patagonia. Next slide, please.
And thinking about the carbon footprint at school, these are the ideas we put into practice. The school authorities will buy trash cans to separate trash at school and also putting stickers in the school bathrooms that encourage people to use less paper towels and to create ecological bricks filling PET bottles with plastic packaging in each classroom.
Amazing. Thank you, Globe School. You were new to our project last year. And so you've been in it for a year now, and it's just amazing that the conversations you've had and the action that you've taken and your participation in the writing was wonderful. So I want to thank you again for all the work you've done in the last year, and I can't wait for another year working with you in your school. So we're going to go to our friends in Costa Rica now. I'm hoping that they joined. I didn't see Costa Rica on the list, but let's see. Oh, you're here, yay!
Yeah.
Wonderful. So again, we're going to go Costa Rica and then Taiwan and then take a quick break so we can talk about this year's Decarbonize.
Perfectly.
There you go.
So, hey everybody, my name is Raquel and I am from St. Paul High School in Costa Rica. Our school ranges from preschool to 11th grade of high school. There is no 12th grade here, and we are part of the Decarbonize group here in Costa Rica, an after-school program that works on environmental topics. So there are quite a few issues that we're facing right now. So revolving climate change, the rainy season this year started 1 month before it usually does. So there's tons of water and a lot of floodings around the country. And this usually happens, but around October. So imagine having floodings at the start of the month and in the end of the year. And we also have pollution. Costa Rica is known as a green country, but we also have a lot of pollution, like amounts of trash, especially in the cities. So I would say those are the main issues we're facing right now. So what are we doing to prevent this? So there are two things. First of all, we are participating in a project called Bandera Azul, in which our school participates every year. We are measured revolving things like recycling, reusing water, sunlight, all of those things. And we also have a new project called Ecolution, in which we are developing activities and conferences with other schools. There are certain tasks to accomplish. The goal is to motivate students in other schools to develop environmental awareness and projects in their communities so we can be all united as a country to fight against climate change. And some topics we are addressing this year is climate change and health, fast fashion and product longevity, sustainability through generations, economy and eco-friendly products accessibility, and natural resources depletion.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Raquel, for sharing such wonderful work going on with you and your fellow students in your schools. I can't wait to see where it goes this year. All right, over for now to our friends in Taiwan. I know they're there. Let's see if we can find them to help them unmute. Oh, I prompted your unmuting. I see you're trying so hard in the background to get it to work. There we go.
Hello, neighbors.
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome, Taiwan.
Okay, so our Decarbonize team work hard to promote climate action. We participate in video conferences with over 30 nations to debate climate issues and hold various events. This is an excellent way for everyone to share information and come together to deal with the problem of environmental protection. To reduce plastic usage, we can take action like bring our own tableware and also conserve water resources as using recycled water. Next slide, please.
Then, let's talk about the most recent climate problems in Taiwan. The first one is rising temperature. People now even wear shorts and t-shirts in the winter, and also Taiwanese like to use lots of the plastic bags and plastic bottles. It's really damaged Taiwan's environment. Also, Due to the lack of the rainfall, lots of lakes and dams are dry up. It severely affected our agriculture industry and semiconductor production.
What can we do for our environments? We can carry out next slide, please. We can carry out effective recycling of resources by sorting garbage. Also, we can make use for public transportation when we go out so as to reduce carbon footprints. And in order to solve the water problems, we need to conserve water resources. The last and the most important thing is that we need to reduce the need for plastic products as much as possible, because plastic is very hard to break down in natural environments. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, our friends from Taiwan, for sharing that. You know, it's interesting because watching your presentation and then remembering Morocco's presentation last year, where they showed very similar pictures with the there were drought problems, there was plastic problems. It would be very interesting to pair you this year so you could have that conversation amongst the similarities, but also it makes me think of Kenya and how they have their plastic bag ban. And I wonder, like, as we talk through all these things, what are the best solutions for our nations and how are they similar and different to others? It's just such a rich idea and conversations.
And then, so let's talk about some of the logistics of how we're going to make all of this happen.
Now, with support from the Canadian government this year, yay! Environmental and Climate Change Canada, we've been awarded a grant to develop an app. And so the app is called Commit to Act, and it will allow you to track your carbon, to take actions, to upload those actions, and it doesn't have to be just about climate change. We really want to embed this within the SDGs, where we see the links between poverty, between gender, between climate, all of those things. And that when we address one, we're not just addressing something alone in a silo, but we are really making an impact across all of the needs of our community. We'll be able to join teams. And so your school can work together to try to achieve a goal or a certain metric or to challenge each other. Maybe you challenge another classroom down the hall to see if they can achieve more carbon or challenge them to make a greater impact in the community. I mean, I think there's wonderful ways.
There's so many different ways. And then for us to be able to list these projects globally so that, and we're able to sort them. So I'm interested in a plastic project. Oh, hey, take a look what these kids in Indonesia are doing. I can do something similar. I'm looking to reduce the amount of water that I'm using in my school or in my community. Oh, take a look at what these students are doing in Peru. Or I'm looking to do some work that's inspired by Indigenous traditional knowledge. And I take a look and then I can see that there's something unique that's taking place in Australia. The opportunity for us to list, to map, to compare, and to quantify the action we're taking, not just from an individual point, but from the entire life cycle that the action is going to take place within a broader system thinking framework.
So we're very excited to launch that. It's in its preliminary stages. They've done some design testing, and we hope to launch it before the fall.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be making some big impact posters. So this is one that I came up with, just a phrase that I came up with that my son thought was cool, but I mean, he's 8, and he thinks I'm pretty cool anyway, so I might be biased. But you know, when kids rise, GHGs fall. But what's something in your community, in your language, in your school that would make an impact, that would get people thinking and talking ahead of this conference? It's not just, it might be happening in the UK, but it can be embedded within your community, wherever you are. This is an important year. It's important that our nations step up to the Paris Agreement's commitments. And we want to help you raise that awareness about what's going on. And so we're going to try to do some amazing posters that we can then share too across around the world. We're going to be having some podcasts. So this came from an idea actually out of our Costa Rican school, who in the 2019 cohort, where they created a podcast for students across their country that was talking about some of the projects that were going on in Decarbonize. So they took the stories and the blogs and the postings that all of our students had made from around the world and helped share them with other students in Costa Rica. And we want to do that. We want to help champion your voice alongside our names and our partners' names. So they'll be small, they won't be long, they won't be 2-hour podcasts, but just short bits that tell your story of your school and your community. And we're going to help you get there. And we're going to do that by training. There's going to be a team of we have some people on the call here today who have volunteered, who are from PR companies and energy companies around the UK, that they want to help train you to develop projects, to design projects, and to promote your projects. How do you pitch projects? How do you gain support? How do you put them into ways, and how do you approach people that they could come alongside you and be aligned with your project?
And if we look at along those lines, we have engineers that are going to be giving advice in terms of the people who are looking to make infrastructure changes. We have entrepreneurs who are going to be sharing advice on how to bring an idea forward from its concept stage to its completion stage. And then we have system thinkers and designers who are going to help you quantify your action, making sure, because sometimes something that we think is going to reduce GHGs over its entire life cycle actually doesn't reduce GHGs. So we want to make sure that we're aware and are able to think on a much broader scale than just what we immediately were seeing. And so we have a team of people who are going to help you make that happen as well.
And then, of course, art. That's always an integral component of our projects, because not everyone, with the language being English that we work on this project, that's a barrier for some of our friends to participate. But we want them to be able to express their opinion in other ways. And that could be music when we're talking about art. It could be music. It could be some sort of performance. It could be a collage, or we've seen sculptures. We would love to be able to capture that. We're working right now with the team in Glasgow on their city council and their government to find a space during the conference to display your art, and selected art from around the world to really capture that. And another way of voicing the concerns, the needs, the hopes of youth from around the world.
What's so important, friends, is that we're never going to solve this the challenge that we have around climate change by just crunching numbers, by just making new spreadsheets. But what we need to do is we need to engage everyone. Everyone's way of knowing, everyone's traditional knowledge, everybody being able to express their thoughts and their actions in different ways. And we can't do that unless we have everyone to the table, and that includes our artists.
And so we'll be sending the art in particular, we would like you to start now. So art takes a while to create. And we don't want to feel rushed. We want you to be able to really think about it and invest thoughts and feelings and emotions in this. And so we will open our call for art right away. Your teachers and everyone who was on last year's classroom will be rolled into this year's. We'll be able to get those materials to learn where to submit, how to submit it. And of course, as always, if all else fails, you just send it to Sarah and I'll make it happen. There's always that.
Let's take a look at some
I
of
want
these
to
art
show
pieces.
some of these art pieces that we've got. These are just a few selections of wonderful things that have come over through the last few years. And then, of course, this year, we've decided to have some global lead teachers. I'm so excited. Rocio from Argentina, Mary from Kenya, and then Glenn and his little team in Australia are going to be our global leads. So each of them will be working very closely with the project to help inspire and minister and work with the teachers in their various continents. And it's going to be an amazing way to really feed back so that it doesn't feel so centered in Canada. We really want this to feel like a global project with teachers in other nations who feel inspired and in charge and own the project there as well. We're very excited. Welcome, you guys. Yay, Mary, yay, our students. All right, that's enough of my joyousness. So without further ado, we have our guest speaker, Seth has logged on, and I want to welcome him. He's going to be in the background for the next few presentations and listening to your wonderful, inspiring projects and plans. And then we're going to invite him to speak at 10 past the hour, I believe we have. And so he's going to be taking it in. But until then, I would like to invite our friends in Brazil to get ready for their section. Over to you, Brazil. I know I saw you guys there. So. Hello. I know I saw you.
No, sometimes a challenge getting those microphones unmuted.
Yes.
Hi everyone. Do we have our presentation in hands? Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Gabriel Valim.
My name is Arthur Fiorenzo Gonçalves.
And my name is Gabriel Godoy.
And we study in Colégio Magno, a Brazilian school in the city of São Paulo. So Brazil is a country with a large population that uses a lot of energy. Our main source of power is hydroelectric power, which is normally complemented by thermoelectric power.
The use of these types of energy sources causes environmental impacts, such as pollution, global warming, and the deregulation of regimes. As a energy source, some options could be the utilization of solar energy and wind farms. On the other hand, wind farms need a lot of space and wind. Photovoltaic, also known as solar cell, could be a great solution for those problems, but they are unable for most of the population because of their high costs here in Brazil.
So, in order to solve the problem of the non-viability of renewable energies, and in an attempt to use resources that don't impact the climate, we developed a plan to create a petition to reduce the taxes on the purchase of solar panels, aiming the cheapness and accessibility of the photovoltaic cells on a national scale. This law project would stimulate people to buy solar panels and start producing their own energy. As a result, energy distributing organs would have the opportunity to prioritize industry's production in order to develop Brazil's economic growth. Our school, in an attempt to deploy clean and renewable energy in 2018 until today, bought almost 300 solar panels and distributed all of them on the roof of the sports gymnasium. Nowadays, we generate about 500 kilowatts hour a day. Also, we plan on installing 92 more cells by July, which would make us self-sufficient.
Amazing. Oh, thank you for your wonderful ideas and momentum. And I mean, that's a big project and I love it.
I love the fact that that it's not just looking at individual action at your school, but you're looking at the system and changing that such that it can be more reproducible in different contexts.
And other schools. Amazing. Thank you so much. And now over to our friends in Greece.
Can you give them 2 minutes because they were in class and they didn't manage to be here on time? Can you proceed with the next school, please?
Of course, I would.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. Now our friends Jojo from Nigeria, I know you were having some internet issues.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Everyone. Hello, everyone. All right. Over to you, too.
Hello, everyone. My name is Uche, Tree Planting Initiative. We're joining the rest of the world to celebrate Earth Day with the theme Restoring the Earth. This is very key, and we can restore the earth through activities that restore the earth, like tree planting and recycling.
Next slide. Our school, through their eco clubs, have been able to form eco champions who are championing the climate change activities. And we are also able to collaborate with some NGOs, including Decarbonize, Decolonize, to create awareness and sensitization on the need for climate action. We are also laying emphasis on the importance of tree planting for food security and healthy environment, also for sustainable environment and future. Next slide, please. It's a holistic action. The whole school, the administrators, they are all participating to make sure that we plant trees. One of the problems we have in Nigeria is food security. So by planting trees, we are sure we have food in the communities. We are aware of the problem of the Fulani herdsmen and all that is driving people away from their farmlands. But the introduction of tree plantings close to your home can help to improve food security in the society. Thank you. The next slide, please. The school got donations of recycling bins so that the student can be able to collect some of these trashes and be able to separate them into useful materials. Some of the plastics, they have been able to convert it to earrings, to buttons and all that. So now we have a section in our school where we collect these trashes, and the students in Eco Club select them and then turn it into useful products. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you.
Oh, yay. Jojo, I'm so grateful that we were able, the last couple of connections we just haven't been able to hear. And I'm so glad that you had a strong, clear connection so that everyone could hear about the amazing work that you've been doing, because yes, it really is such great initiatives that you're taking at your school.
Well, friends, in addition to hearing from the UK Cabinet Office and in being inspired by their great work and vision for connecting youth, and hearing from amazing schools that are doing great projects, we also have partners and advocates and allies who have come alongside youth for many, many years. And one of those allies who had a vision when it came to hosting the first ever International Panel on Climate Change Cities Conference with Seth Schultz, who personally shepherded the project of youth, of young people, for the first time to come alongside and to share the work that they have done from so many countries. And so I had the privilege of getting together with Seth in person when he was in Edmonton for the first of these events under the leadership of C40. And Seth continues to be a trailblazer in and around climate action and empowering work. He is the current CEO of Resilient Shift, the global initiative to accelerate systematic resilience. He has a long track record of building a consensus and initiating change in the field of climate change, engineering, academia, and urban issues. He is a passionate advocate for a safe, resilient, and sustainable future, and the role of scientific, engineering, and technical communities can play in the transformative decarbonization and long-term resilience. Seth sits on various boards and advisory councils. He is a sought-after speaker and frequent author, including recently a lead author on the groundbreaking IPCC special report on 1.5 degrees. Friends, it is with a very warm heart and a thankful spirit that I welcome Seth Schultz to share a few words with these young people from all across the planet. Seth, over to you.
Thanks, Terry, and great to be with everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. Absolutely delighted to be sharing some time with you guys on Earth Day, and so excited to see what you guys are up to and how you're doing it. I'm going to get into that a little bit in my comments to you guys all. I wanted to share a little bit of my own story and some of the work that I think is so important of you, particular youth, being involved in helping us tackle some of the challenges that we have in front of us. I have a few slides that I thought I'd share while I talk, so let me see if I can share my screen here and we can get this going. Can you guys see my screen?
Looks great.
Great. And how about now, full screen? And if I move the slides, do you see that did they move?
No.
No. Okay.
It might
well,
just...
I'll do it this way. If you guys can still see this, does that work? And you can see that move?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it this way. So it just, in general, you know, I did want to kind of pick up in the broader movement that you guys are working on right now, particularly with decarbonize and decolonize. I think the broader call to action that you guys are setting out couldn't be more important. And also the call to action that you're kind of ringing across the intergovernmental landscape and community is really important. We know urgent action is needed today, as we've been hearing and discussing, but I really want to emphasize how important it is that the youth of today, all of you, play in terms of the pivotal role not only in determining future outcomes and solutions, but in the here and now, and to continue doing what you are and demanding the current action that you have been. I think, you know, Terry and Sarah, I think the role of youth may be even bigger than we all think. And I know how much you guys believe in this. But maybe to start, you know, I'm really worried that we're actually running out of time. And I'll tell you why. If we had all the political willpower, all the money that we needed, and all the technology, we don't actually have enough time to build it in terms of decarbonization. I'll let that sink in for a moment. We're out of time. To accomplish the task at hand, we cannot apply the same set of rules, procedures, standards, and methods if we are to succeed. If we accept that this decade is the decade of change and is the most pivotal, and if we look at what needs to happen over the next 10 years, we must accept that radical partnership, innovation, failure, and adaptability must be the tools in our toolkit. One of my favorite African proverbs says, if you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. But we need to go far and fast. I hope I have your attention now, because you certainly have mine. I view this as a once-in-a-life opportunity at exactly the right moment to speak to you about why I believe 21st century leadership will be defined by the youth of today in ensuring the safety and continuity of the human species. But in order to do this, you, the youth of today, need to better understand your critical role in collaborating with others and the change that you need to continue to demand. You see, the world is rapidly changing with advances in technology, political shifts, and more frequent and intense climate-driven hazards. The world faces increasing uncertainty, combined with a very certain need to reduce carbon emissions and to do a better job of looking after our planet. The assumption upon which many of our traditional models of economics, agriculture, and governance are based have changed, and they continue to change. For example, design standards need to be revised to withstand increasingly intense storms. Technological advancements will require new standards such as smart grids, the increased role of cellular technology, but the time frame of standardization is slow. Unforeseen events may create short or long-term shifts in engineering requirements such as those we've all experienced over the last year due to COVID-19. So where do we start? In order to answer that question, I want to share briefly with you what I have learned along the way in my own career. You see, I'm a very lucky person. I've had the good fortune to work with presidents and governors, mayors, billionaires, philanthropists, scientists, and activists and CEOs all over the world. I've traveled to over 100 countries. I've visited over 1,000 cities. But I started off as a kid in a national forest preserve in Northern California in a log cabin that my parents built themselves. I think I credit that experience with having kind of retained some of the open-mindedness and innovative approaches to problem solving that I've used over my career. I was homeschooled, not many people know this, I was homeschooled until the age of 16. I went on to get a degree in environmental science and geology, and I spent the first 10 years of my career in engineering companies. And the work ethic, values, and solution-oriented outcomes laid a foundation for the skills that I've been using ever since. But the type of work I did early on in my career also played a large role in shaping why I'm here today. In working with New York City agencies and various state governments and federal programs in the United States, I gained a deep understanding and appreciation for the complex, interconnected jungle of infrastructure that allows our society to function. I then moved into the field of emergency response and worked on all-consuming projects such as the recovery efforts after 9/11 at Ground Zero and the cleanup after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. But after 10 years in the engineering community, I started to get burned out. I was burned out by the responsive and reactive nature of our work. I was tired of cleaning up the pollution left by others, picking up broken homes and devastated communities. And I was getting more and more frustrated with the engineering community itself. It seemed slow-moving, conservative, risk-averse, and overly focused on delivering poorly structured tenders and deliverables to clients instead of being involved in the upstream work of framing the right problems to look at. So I walked away. I left the engineering community at the age of 30 and began a fascinating journey working with foundations, philanthropies, and not-for-profit organizations. I've been working on some of the most pressing issues of our time as a result, such as climate change, urbanization, globalization, and the first industrial revolution. And during that time, I've seen the power of what individuals can do. But more importantly, I've seen up close the power of what happens when individuals collaborate, and often in the face of overwhelming uncertainty and doubt. One of the best examples of this time is the time I spent working with mayors and city staff that Terry referenced earlier, just a minute ago. I believe there's a direct applicability to what I think the youth of today need to do to what the mayors of cities around the world have been tackling. So as Terry mentioned, I helped create some of the world's largest networks of cities tackling climate change. It was an inspiring and insightful time of my life. Over the last decade of inaction on climate change, cities have really stepped forward and started delivering the ambition, vision, and action needed to start changing the course of human history from one that is destroying the planet to one that can be regenerative and in harmony with the natural world. One of the reasons for this is that I believe mayors are some of the world's greatest pragmatists. Mayors and cities have to ensure that the lights stay on, the garbage gets taken out, that schools are open, and that the streets are clean. And when things like climate change start impacting citizens and disrupting daily life, they have to take action. It's not something that they can wait to do. It's not something that they can debate. If the garbage isn't taken out in the world's cities, there are immediate consequences. But by creating networks of cities that could talk to each other about their concerns, about their fears, about their challenges, something powerful took hold. We often talk about collaboration, but collaboration is not an easy thing. It takes sharing. It takes listening. It takes open-mindedness. It takes trust. It takes exactly what I just saw you guys doing 15 minutes before. Because often we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes, but very rarely are we rewarded or incentivized to share our failures. But that's exactly what cities have been doing. We saw the power of this type of collaboration between city leaders over the last 10 years. And I'll ask you this, where else do you see this type of collaboration? You see, as cities started practicing this deep collaboration, they started leapfrogging the standard policy and implementation cycles. They were shortening the delivery time frame by experimenting with radical collaboration to implement solutions at the speed and scale that climate change demanded. Now we're starting to see major developments in terms of cities' willingness to set ambitious climate goals and to start rolling out policies with which to achieve it based on this sharing. I then, as Terry mentioned, started turning more of my time towards the academic community. And I was incredibly fortunate and honored to have been chosen as one of the 86 lead authors on the IPCC Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change's special report on the global warming of 1.5 degrees. You may have heard about this report as it created quite a stir when it came out a few years ago, as it starkly laid out how little time we have left to avoid the most severe impacts of climate change. During these intense 2 years that I worked on that report, I had a chance to talk with some of the best academic minds in the world. It was a huge learning curve for me, sobering to get your arms around the data and to deeply understand what it is telling us. But one of the reasons that I believe today's youth, just like mayors, engineers, and scientists I've worked with in the past, are so critical to the Earth's future is because of what you inherently have within yourselves: creativity, openness. You have not been brought up in a professional capacity yet that has ingrained incrementalism in your approaches. You can more easily see the future that you want and can be more open-minded about how you get there. Tackling today's problem is not something that we can wait to do. It's not something that we can debate. If we don't start tackling this crisis now, there are going to be immediate consequences. But how did we get here? To help understand this, let's do a quick revisit of history. And I've greatly oversimplified this, but you'll get the point. It took us thousands of years to learn how to build. It took us about 200 years to begin building for complexity and urbanization. Now we have to build for future uncertainty. How much time do you think we have to do this? If we want to convert this innovation into an innovation and economic perspective, we can look at Schumpeter's cycles of activity, which are characterized by dominant technologies, which you'll recognize here on this slide. In looking at these waves of transformation, it's interesting to note that the length of time between these waves of disruption and transformation have continuously become shorter and shorter. It's also clear that tomorrow's underpinning drivers will be as much about lifestyle issues as they are about technological and economic development, and that the interface between human and social demands and the application of technology is, as always, what drives innovation forward. But the next wave is upon us, and it is only 10 years. 10 years to cut our emissions in half and set ourselves on the next 40-year journey of building for future uncertainties. But the good news is we've got a strong framework for what we need to do to move this forward, and they're called the Sustainable Development Goals. The outcomes that we need are clearly articulated in the SDGs and have robust reporting mechanisms per country. But what needs to change, and what is the role of engineers and or youth in delivering this in the face of uncertainty? More importantly, who is going to do it? What's interesting is in a very recent Future of Jobs report, it just indicated some of the key areas that we need skills: energy efficiency, zero emissions electricity, decarbonizing industry, carbon sequestration. What was also interesting in that Future Jobs reports is what they found to be the top 3 most valued skills. Those were solving complex systems, critical thinking, and creativity, followed closely by, guess what? Collaboration. So I think it's clear that the task is hand. The urgency is high. You need to help the world transform to meet the greatest challenge we have ever faced. And you're not going to be ready until you recognize that you have an outsized role to play. Don't wait for your school to change. Don't wait for your companies that you're going to join change. Speak up and speak out. But most of all, speak through action and lead by example and lead at all levels. In closing, the future that we want is ours to determine. I want to share a great quote from the late American futurist Alvin Toffler, in which he said, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." You see, we have this last chance to do this, and we know that if we don't do anything in the coming decade, that in 10 years' time, we will have begun to lose control of the climatic system, and it will matter less and less after that about what we do. And the impacts will be permanent on any timescale that has meaning for humanity. But in speaking recently about the future with a dear friend and how to sow stubborn optimism and hope about the future we want, he shared something with me that touched me, and I want to share it with you now. You see, we have this very rare moment that we are living through, a consequential moment in history, and we know we're living through it. Most consequential moments in history are only visible in the review mirror, and you look back afterwards and you hope you showed up with the courage and integrity and the purpose, but you don't know until afterwards. Now you get to choose. We get to choose who we want to be in this consequential decade. And that comes from bringing all of ourselves to this transformation, all of our messy vulnerabilities, all the human elements of it. We can't bluff our way through this any longer. So we need to show up. We need to decide that we are going to be part of the solution. We need to come to it with grace and courage and determination. And we should have fun while we're doing it. We get to live through the greatest transformation in the history of humanity. You have a chance to play your part and ensure that we come out on the right side of history. That's who we get to be, and we should celebrate it each and every day. And I believe you guys are well on your way to doing that in the collaboration model that you've set up and that we've talked about today. Thanks so much, Terry. Back to you.
Thank you so very much, Seth. Thanks for those inspiring words, and the fact that now is the time that action is needed. That we need to move forward collaboratively, that we need to have the courage to fail, and we need to celebrate those failures. Friends, this is the year of action. The United Nations has called us to that, right? And we're going to be celebrating those actions and sharing those actions through the app and through the art that we create and the work that's taking place. But I think a renewed emphasis on the fact that we need to be willing to step out and try something that might not work, but we're going to try it. And we're going to think big, and we're going to try to put it in a larger system of thought, so it's not just about us and our immediacy. Seth, thank you so much for giving that perspective as we move into this next section of action and the inspiration that the young people are going to be done. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, guys. Good luck with everything.
Well, in the spirit of sharing and collaborating, let's hear from some more countries.
So we are going to jump back up to Greece because they're here from school. They got let out of their class and they're ready to share. So our friends in Greece didn't give you a lot of warning, but we're throwing it your way right now.
And it's now you.
Well, you get a little chance while the screen loads.
Oh, that slow internet.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Wonderful.
Can we unmute your microphones, friends in Greece?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is our school, and this is our team. It consists of 4 people. Me, Anastasia, Ellie, Helen, and Dania. You can
Yeah, but there's
know.
only 2 of us right now because
Yeah. Well, yeah.
times.
Yes. So we decided to talk about the urban waste management in Greece because it's a major environmental and social problem. Um, the well, the this is a really big problem. So we decided to talk about it in school. And you can change the slide. So we talked about the specific issue and we wanted to raise awareness about the importance to act on an individual level. So we discussed the problem with our class and what we can do to prevent this kind of outcomes. We mentioned recycling, reusing items and materials, and recycling or donating clothes. Helen can take it from here.
Okay, so I think we can move on to this next slide. So yeah, we thought it would be good to collaborate with our classroom and educate them to the extent that we can with our knowledge and the knowledge we've taken from this program about how important the reduction of our carbon footprint is. So we mentioned the reducing of usage of electricity, using public transport as much as we can, or preferring walking, for example, um, to going by the car, cutting down on meat and dairy, or even going vegan, and in general avoid using fossil fuels. And I think what you mentioned as well, and what's really important, is about it's on every individual to do just a little bit of effort because it always seems like, okay, who am I to change something about the planet and about the environment? Actually, something that holds us back as a worldwide community. And this is exactly the attitude that has brought us here. The who am I to change something? It's not true. If everyone does a little bit of effort to reduce their carbon footprint, the outcome will be important and it will be big. So this is our little presentation. Sorry for coming late, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you to our friends at Greece for coming in unexpectedly and speaking first from after your classes. It's great to see how you are working. You're a small team, but you're spreading the word amongst your school, that you're using the things that you're learning through Decarbonize and other climate education, and you're spreading it to those around you in ways that they will find interest and take that charge up, because not everyone can participate in our program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really up to us to help spread the word and advocate for these changes. And I like to see what you're doing. All right. Oh, so far I had our friends in Nigeria.
And maybe while we advance to the next slides, I think it's important for us to realize that in that spirit of collaboration, like Seth spoke about, we have networks that we're plugging into and being inspired by. So the primary of those, where most of you are from World UNESCO Schools, part of the Associated School Project, ASP.NET. And so we just appreciate so much the opportunity to work together and to collaborate and to bring these global schools together in meaningful projects as they share their whole school projects and the great work that they're doing. And the other partner that we have that's made this possible in part this year is the Trottier Foundation. And their vision for engaging youth in cross-sectorial, as well as looking at the science when it comes to climate change and other global challenges that are there, are helping to make this year's collaboration possible. So thanks to those two partners.
All right, our friends in Argentina.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, my name is Julian. I'm from Argentina, Buenos Aires, and I'm from San Nicolas School. Here's a picture of our entry school, 3 our flags, and their respective banners. Next slide, please. Well, in Argentina, we are facing many issues currently, but two of the main ones are floods and droughts. Next slide, please. As you can see,
Sorry, there was some background and we muted you by mistake. So if you can just unmute. Sorry about that, Ian. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. Droughts map, we can see that most of the droughts in Argentina occur in the south part, and floods occur mainly in the north part. Well, due to climate reasons. Next slide, please. And youth action. Well, in Argentina, we are currently having a project called Making Love Bottles, which are basically plastic, non-rigid plastic, compacted in a plastic bottle, and with that we make eco bricks used for charity. Also, we know that in Argentina, a lot of people still don't know about climate change, and we know that we need to raise awareness so that we can change. And also, a lot of people that do know about climate change are too lazy to recycle because it's a tedious process. So we are trying to encourage people to recycle by making the process a little bit easier. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Argentina. Wonderful. Again, another school that joined us for the first time last year and has done some great work over this year. I hear that their team has expanded exponentially and that they started with 4 and they think almost 30 kids are going to join next year. So that means that you 4 inspired so many of your peers to join in this project. And we're just really proud that you're spreading that message and really inspiring the youth around you, your friends and your family around you. So thank you, Argentina. All right, over to our friends now in Turkey.
Hi, my name is Emine. Turkey is a country in Asia, especially geopolitically. It has formed a common bridge connecting East and West. About our school, Dr. Binazeki, Dr. Rıdvan High School. Our school is in Ankara, capital city of Turkey. We're a school that is devoted to fosters principles and reforms that adapts and contributes to national and universal values, is at peace with itself and its environment, has problem-solving skills, clarifies its future goals, is aware of what needs to be done to achieve its goals, and can make use of information technology.
One of our country's biggest climate problem is air pollution. The greenhouse effect caused by air pollution, on the one hand, causes harmful consequences such as drought and acid rains, and on the other hand, causes processes of change in our country's climate to significant dimensions through global warming. At the beginning of the factors that cause air pollution are fossil fuels. Tons of coal used to heat up, especially in winter, is one of the biggest causes of air pollution. Everything that can be done to prevent air pollution is necessary to create cleaner air and good climatic conditions.
Hello, I'm Elfnaz. Another climate issue in Turkey is water management. Our lakes are losing water due to wild irrigation methods, drought, and changing rainfall regimes. As the water level drops and the depth decreases, evaporation is triggered. Reports show that Turkey has lost more than half of its lakes. 60% of the 300 large and small natural lakes found in Turkey have dried up. The withdrawal of groundwater by a large number of wells around the lakes prevents the lake from feeding, and excessive reduction of groundwater causes a drought problem. There are methods that we can apply to prevent this problem. For instance, with embankments and regulators installed on the streams that feed the lakes shouldn't be turned into dams. Factory waste is the main cause of contamination of the lakes. Factories shouldn't dump waste that comes out after their production into the seas, rivers, and lakes with pipes without any filtration process. They should filter these wastes or pass them through a wastewater treatment system and get rid of harmful substance.
We want to do entertaining and instructive presentations at school, so with these meetings we can teach young ages. Because it's easier and more effective to teach young people first so they can make sure that the people around them know about climate change. We want to raise awareness of people on social media and in everyday life with campaigns that we can do with help from big companies. We want to do events that lead people to recycling. For example, if someone brings their recyclable trash, they can get extra discount for the products they are buying. For the people who still doesn't understand or think it doesn't affect them even we explain with scientific reasons, there should be a tour to place like burned forest or dried lakes, so maybe they can understand what's happening to our beautiful world.
Thank you so much, Turkey. Now, I was in Turkey for a month about 10 years ago now. And I remember how there were many posters for tourists that would advertise the lakes. And as you were saying, the lakes are depleting with the climate change. And I would travel to one of the lakes and it had completely dried up and there were some tourists there that were quite angry. But I think it shows that interconnectedness, that the climate change impacts the environment, but it also impacts our tourism and it impacts the people who work around tourism. And it is one of those, just as Seth was talking with the SDGs, that when we're addressing climate change, we're addressing so many issues within our society that are related to and adjacent to that, whether it be tourism or employment or poverty or hunger. There's so many ways that climate is interconnected with our communities. And thank you. I loved when I was in Turkey, and so I always have a special place in my heart when you join us from Ankara. So thank you again, Turkey, for sharing with us today.
And next school, we're going to go on a little bit closer to where Sarah and I are situated, which is our friends in Lacombe, Alberta, Canada. Lacombe, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rika.
I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Taylor. EcoVision is a club that grows student leaders at Lacombe Composite High School through projects that focus on the environment, like our net zero geodesical tropical greenhouse in the picture above. We are enhancing our education through innovative agricultural and environmental programs such as our beekeeping program. And we're collaborating with our community through workshops like the picture at the top of the page. Climate change is an important issue in Canada that's affecting every aspect of our lives. The fact that within this chart shows that 26% of the people, which is the red and orange survey, don't choose to think or worry about climate change is pretty much concerning. EcoVision students are developing projects that address this issue.
EcoVision is ensuring inclusive and equitable environmental education that promotes lifelong learning for all students and community members by offering an innovative agriculture and environmental programs. We are taking urgent action to combat climate change and its effects by projects such as our 6.0 kilowatt and 3.9 kilowatt solar projects, our geodesic greenhouse with 4 renewable energy systems, and our youth. Our club is trying to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of our ecosystems by planting fruit trees and developing gardens with a drip irrigation.
So we have many projects that we use to help combat climate change. Some of which including our carbon neutral greenhouse, which has year-round food production, which is powered by solar energy and heated by geothermal and solar energy. We have an aquaponics system, which is able to raise 100 plus tilapia fish and grow food within one system that uses 80% less water. We have our beekeeping and honey, which we have honeybees that produce honey and beeswax, as well as a solitary bee hotel that is able to support native species.
We have a forest farm with 2 acres of garden, which supports over 175 fruit trees and bushes, and has 50 raised beds, which are watered by drip irrigation. We also have a goat barn with a green roof. So it's a recycled seed can that is used as a baby goat sanctuary. Microclimate greens are able to thrive on the living roof. Next slide, please. Our latest project is the Epic Garden, which will include a rain garden with 25 indigenous plants with edible, medicinal, carbon capture, nitrogen fixation, and pollinator characteristics.
I was muted. So thank you so much to our wonderful friends down in Lacombe, just below us. You have some amazing projects going on. And I think the stuff that could be really inspiring to other schools, how they became interested in beekeeping and others, and then it really challenged the government to come alongside and offer certifications. So now students who take beekeeping lessons within the school are given certificates of urban beekeeping and can use that towards careers, summers. It's a really an amazing integration of the system, as we were talking before, changing the system, not just changing our schools. And it's really, a lot of the work is so inspiring. So thank you, Lacombe. All right, so we're visiting here our presentation order again. So we're up, India is next, then Philippines, and then Peru. And we have a few others who tag themselves along at the bottom, but we'll get to those later. India, over to you.
Namaste, everybody. So we're going to actually tough times with the COVID-19 pandemic, but our war with climate change never ends. We, the students of Hyderabad Public School, India, are thankful to the COP26 committee as it lets us vocalize our ideas. The Hyderabad Public School is an 89-acre school in the center of the city, co-educational day and residential school in Hyderabad, one of the oldest educational institutes in the youngest state of the country. Next slide, please. India has the seventh most affected by devastating impact of the climate change. Mean temperature in India has risen by 0.7 degrees Celsius this year. There are abnormalities in the pre-monsoon season, including extremely high recorded temperatures for prolonged periods without any break. The summer season is earlier with increasing humidity. The city is experiencing dust storms, unseasonal heavy rains, and hailstorms, heat waves, and a longer warm season too. Hyderabad has inadequate old infrastructure, erratic water and power supply, dead integrated water bodies, high vehicular traffic, and increasing land and air pollution. Next slide, please. Due to the pandemic, we are not able to we are able to make very few on the field activities. We have been using the social media to spread awareness and have been posting climate change related quotes encouraging the environment everyone to do the same. We have successfully increased the greenery in and around the school. Compared to 2016, there is 70% more green cover in 2021. Also, as we haven't been visiting school often last year, the school and nature have probably kind of healed themselves. The National Cadet Corps, along with the Green Club and us, have been striving to protect the greenery and maintain the cleanliness in Hyderabad. We went on rallies, missions to refresh to the greenery in Hyderabad and get rid of the waste that was hindering plant growth. We are also trying to involve the local municipality in our drive. Also, I'd like to thank our school's principal, Mrs. Kanbali sir, our vice principal, Mrs. Amritam Chandra Raj ma'am, Mrs. Ujasri ma'am, and also Mrs. Annapurna ma'am for making this possible. Thank you.
Amazing. Oh, that image of 2016 to
That
2020, that transformation of the planting and cleaning that your school has undertaken is really inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And now across to our friends in the Philippines. Go ahead, St. Joseph's Academy.
Mabuhay! We belong to St. Joseph's Academy. This is our third consecutive year as a global lead school for this international youth collaboration project.
Schools like ours make it a point to give emphasis to the importance of youth action in our fight for climate justice.
Now, during this online distance learning, we, the Josephians as we call ourselves, are now learning from home due to the restrictions of the pandemic.
Here's Erica and RV to tell you more about the issues that threaten our environment even in this pandemic.
In 2019, the Philippine government planned to cover the shore of the polluted Manila Bay with dolomite sand. It was September of last year that this artificial sand affected marine life negatively when it washed off the ocean. Furthermore, the mining produced dust that caused respiratory issues for the citizens around the site.
At present, the Manila artificial sand still exists and continues to harm and pollute land and waters alike. Environmental organizations still voice out their opposition. The government is yet to consider them. Here we have Miguel and Jamie who will tell us about the actions we are currently taking.
The future of our environment lies in our very own hands. That's why we need to take impactful action before it's too late. Our hashtag Decarbonize Youth Action includes being knowledgeable of our environment, open communication and education to share ways in mitigating climate change, utilizing technologies to spread needed awareness, speaking out against climate injustice, and active participation and cooperation in organizations and initiatives for the environment.
Our subject Laudato Si, meaning praise to you, focuses on the universal message of Pope Francis, which is to care for our common home. We have attended numerous seminars coming from different speakers that talk about topics that concern youth action towards our planet. One of the themes we discuss is the effect of our diet to climate change. With this matter, we the students have learned to grow our own food at home and understand more on how simple actions can have huge impacts to our environment.
And that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you so much for listening.
Oh, thank you so much, Philippines. Such a wonderful projects going on there. And we have a number of Catholic schools that are coming on board this year. And it's really, I love the dynamic that we have between public and private, international, Catholic, and really the richness of the programming and the messages that we're looking at, the lens through which we're looking at all of these and climate change. So thank you so much for sharing about your school and the projects you're undertaking. So we have now our friends in Peru. Oh, I'm just gonna say, I know that we said we would end at 11:20 our time, which is or 17:20 GMT, and I know that's what we're at now. But we have some wonderful projects that we would still love to share. We understand that some of you might have to drop off. You'll be able to catch, we do have our live stream on YouTube, and the video will be archived to there. You're welcome to check out the rest if you need to leave now and then touch back later. We do want to keep sharing the voice of the youth of our project.
And friends, as we move into this next stage, it's going to be so important that from the launch of the app, from the sharing of the art, from as we move into looking at policy and some of the complex issues of climate change, that we balance all of that with action that we're taking in our local communities in this year of action. And we are so very excited about some of the added partners we have coming on board that are going to help us really create projects that are meaningful, that we know the impact it has, that we're able to quantify the carbon that we have mitigated, that we're able to understand that the projects are most meaningful when we understand the impact that we're having. And so for any of those who do have to leave, we cannot wait to see the great work that you're going to do as we continue to collaborate online. But we're looking forward just as equally to hear from these few partners who are joining us and are going to share it as we cross over into a little bit of after hours time.
All right, welcome. Over to you, Peru.
Hi, good morning, afternoon, or night, depending wherever you are. The members of our group are Catherine, Rosita, Oriana, and me, Andrea, and we are representing Peru. Sadly, our country is very polluted, but we, as youth, decided to take action. For example, one of our commitments is to plant 50 trees in our city, Trujillo.
Our project, Spirit of Trees, is on the right track. We have the support and permission of the municipality, the government of our city. We are confident and motivated that soon the 50 trees will be successfully planted. We have to make the world greener, even if it's a small step. Now, Rosita is going to talk about one of those actions.
Okay, so we have a project which is Spider to Trees project, and it seeks to restore the forested areas in our region. On Monday, we started with our first section, and we went to plant more trees in our school in our district. We are all very enthusiastic about generating changes for the environment, and we already have some other places where we could plant more trees.
Hello, my name is Ariana, and I'm going to tell you about our project that began 2 years ago. We investigate the larvae of two types of mosquitoes, the Culex and Aedes aegypti. One is safe, the other is very dangerous because it transmits many diseases such as dengue, Zika, yellow fever, and chikungunya. In the past, we took the samples from the rivers around Huánuco and only found the Culex larva. Recently, we detected the dangerous Aedes species. Now, we are on high alert looking for this type of mosquito larva. We want to protect public health of our region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peru. What wonderful projects that are really important for your local region. I really like to hear about them. Thank you. All right, now over to our friends in Nairobi, Kenya.
Hello everyone, my name is Ian Gunga and I'm a student from St. Austin's Academy, Kenya, and I'm joined with Amaka and Dora, and we are excited to be with you today. Kenya is a diverse country along the East African coast. There is a lot to discuss about our nation, such as our progress and improvements to meet the NDCs. I will hand it over to my friend to talk to you about what we face on a more local level.
Deforestation affects us because without enough trees to take in the carbon dioxide, the air becomes toxic, which is harmful to us. Littering, um, the organic waste attracts pests and non-biodegradable materials such as plastic harm our environment, stunting the growth of plants, for example, which affects our school fields. Lack of awareness is also a problem because since fewer people are aware of the environmental problems that we're facing, change becomes much more difficult.
What we have done is partaking in various events, e.g., tree planting, student participation, waste disposal, trash pickups, spreading awareness through protests and social media, and also through education. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Oh, there. One more. Just maybe one more slide. Thank you so much, St. Austin's. All right, now we're going to go to our friends in Poland, Katowice, who hosted COP24.
Yes, so hi everyone. So this year, actually Poland is represented by 3 different schools, so it's a lot of different students, and the schools are second secondary school Marii Konopnickiej in Katowice, Melchior Wańkowicz Private High School in Katowice, and school complex number 1 in Tychy. We are all located in the same area, basically in Silesia. So, okay, so that was my friend's slide, but
sorry, my microphone stopped working for
okay, no problem.
Yes, I'm supposed to read this. So many young people think that they can change anything, and they have little knowledge of ecology, actually. People don't want to talk about some ecological issues, and they disregard ecological problems. people don't see how dangerous climate change is because they don't see it in their everyday life.
We try to change that by participating in ecological projects, Decarbonize, Colonize, Baltic Sea Project, and COP24 and COP25.
Thank you so much to our friends in Poland. I love the way, my video got touching too many buttons here. I love the way that your school is really collaborating with others, and that we see that in our Argentinians, where they have multiple connections, and we see that with our friends in the Netherlands. We already have a school there as well, and here in Canada, we're going to involve a few more schools this year, and I just really love the collaboration between your organization. Yay! All right, now to our friends in Indonesia, we'd love to have you.
Hello everyone. Good morning, afternoon, night everyone. I am Eli Manalu. I'm second year's high school at Adventist College 14 High School Bekasi in Indonesia. Next slide. Now I will talk about environmental problems in Indonesia. Indonesia is the world's fourth largest country and the largest archipelago with over 17,000 islands, where there are many environmental problems such as high industrialization, deforestation, forest fire, and waste crisis. Impacts of environmental damage in Bekasi. Bekasi is a buffer city for Jakarta, the capital city of the country with a population of 2.5 million inhabitants. As one of the largest cities in Indonesia, Bekasi has to deal with different impacts of environmental damage, including flash floods that happened earlier this year, air pollution, polluted river, and landfills. Solution to the environmental issues in Bekasi. The city government of Bekasi has taken many steps to deal with environmental impacts that can lead to climate change. For example, the establishment of Bekasi Smart City Project, Vapor Absorption Well Project, the organization of Car Free Day or CFT program every Sunday, and also building partnership with private sector Gojek to organize Clean Friday project. And here it is. This is my school. Our school is also committed to help protect the environment by organizing community service activities around our school. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Indonesia. You know, one of the inspiring things I saw when we were in Katowice for COP24 was that Indonesia, though it's a small nation, had a large pavilion, and they hosted a great number of conversations. So they created a stage, and they brought in, it didn't matter what nation, they allowed them to come in and collaborate and speak of what they were doing at COP24 and the actions that they were taking. They really embodied the spirit that we needed to hear from different nations, that we needed to hear from different voices, and a large indigenous focus. It was wonderful to see that even though they were a small nation, they were championing the voices of all sorts of participants in the COP. And so it was really, for me, it was like, go Indonesia, represent. So thank you for being able to bring your voice as well to this project. Now this year we have a new school joining us from Canada, from a small area in BC called Haida. And Gila is gonna, I believe is online, and is gonna be speaking about her experiences there. So Gila, over to you.
Hi everyone. We're from Gitgalang Koyasnai on Haida Gwaii. We have about like 150 kids in our school. I'm joining her today.
Wonderful.
Okay, so one of the biggest issues that we decided to talk about today was like our island. We live on an island, and our island is mainly run by diesel. And so we are working on getting it on full clean energy. And our school, we have a large solar panel array was installed on the roof of our school. You can see it kind of in our picture there. I couldn't get a good picture of it. It has significantly lowered our operating costs and reduces the energy we take from the diesel generation. It does not cover all of our power consumption, but we take other measures such as like programming the heat to cool down when no one's in the building, like on weekends or on holidays. And then like sometimes we'll come in and it'll be super cold in the mornings because we don't turn it back on right away. One of our old superintendents, Mr. Wilson, says that he reported at least like $60,000 worth of administrative savings in the first year of operation after the solar panels went live. And that is like a good measure of how much energy we are not drawing from hydro.
Our school has one of the largest solar installations on Haida Gwaii with 84 solar panels. It was installed in the spring of 2016, and the 24 kilowatt solar array has been offsetting some 20% of the school's electricity. The lifespan for solar installations like this is approximately 30 years, and the panels are expected to pay themselves off within about 6 years. The maintenance supervisor is hoping to get around 80 more panels in the near future.
Sweet. In September 2019, we had a school walkout, and almost our whole school participated. There was maybe one or two who just couldn't make it. We wanted to demand action from our community leaders, but mainly Canada's leaders. And in the future, we hope to rejuvenate this climate action club and make it a climate action committee to put pressure on our principal to get little things that will make such a big difference, like shutting lights off that are unused, or like little things like that. We have a class before us has set that up where they talked to our superintendent and has said, like, we don't use these lights are useless. And he was able to get them permanently shut off and actually had to come to the school and make sure they were shut off a couple of times. And so now we have like taken other steps in other things like our plastic emissions, where we have a fountain now, which is able to fill up our water bottles, and our school has given every student in our school a reusable water bottle. And we have like within the first months of that fountain being installed, we saved over 1,000 plastic bottles. And I'm excited to see the steps that my school will take in the future. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oops. Thank you so much. Oh, we got to speed through some of the things we already did. Okay, so amazing Haida Gwaii. They are a very small island, and to see that, I think what I hear there is some resonance with some of our other schools. So Brazil is also undertaking a solar panel, and our friends here near us in Lacombe are taking solar panels. And what I can see is that, one country's actions can very much be modeled by other countries. We can bring that information together, and what really does help make school administrators or make or mayors or other systemic people change their minds is to have that information, to have their to know how much money you're saving, to know how much to know the exact details on how these projects can be implemented, and have those actual monetary costs as ways to sort of lobby for the changes you want to make. Because of course we all want to make an impact on the climate, but schools have to think about budgets. They need to think about, how are they going to maintain these once, in terms of structures, in terms of maintenance, in terms of longevity, past just implementation. And I think some of the power in this comes from our schools being able to work together and say, here's a school who's done this already. And this is what they've seen, this is what they've heard, this is the impact it's made, and this is the cost and we can help you sort of bring this information together through this project. And I want to thank everyone who's joined us today. We've reached the end of our school presentations. I want to thank our partnerships that we have right now with the Environment and Climate Change Canada, with CC UNESCO, so the Canadian Commission for UNESCO, with Traudier Foundation, with Oceanwise, with Taking It Global. Of course, Taking It Global. We would be nowhere without our larger parent organization, who has really allowed us the space, both virtually, physically, socially to do this amazing work and help lead this conversation. I can't wait to get started on this brand new year. Your teachers and you will be receiving information from us shortly on the art contest, on getting started on the podcast, of the things that you can do as you work towards September, when our online classroom will open. Now in September, that's when the virtual engagement will begin, when we'll pair you up with another country, global north and global south, and we'll have those conversations, both cultural as well as relating to climate and our national determined targets and all of those climate related conversations. And then we'll move into the continentals and we'll talk to everyone. We'll have South America meet, we'll have North America, we'll have Europe meet, and we'll talk about what are these impacts on our trade agreements and on the policies that our nations are bringing forth to the COP conversation in Glasgow. And then we'll move to the globals. And a part of that, hopefully, if COVID allows it, we'll be involving taking one representative from each of our countries, one lead student to come to COP and represent their nation in the conversation. We'll be on the ground throughout Scotland, visiting schools, spreading words with organizations. We have art installations and we have opportunities to really engage with youth and organizations in the nation, but also to attend COP and to bring your voice to the leaders of the planet that are there. And this is your chance to really be heard. People are listening, people are wanting to know what you think, your unique needs, your unique perspective, and really to hold them accountable for the commitments they're making. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I know that some of our schools were just sitting and listening, but they'll be back in September to present as we open the classroom. We'll have another global event to bring you together to help celebrate and champion that work. So I want to thank our partners in all the countries who weren't presenting today. I saw many of our American friends who were online. I saw some of our friend in Belize who was online, and a bunch of different countries, Netherlands as well. I want to welcome them and say that I see you and we acknowledge you. We really can't wait to engage in this work with you together. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Earth Day. I hope that this sort of inspired you to think about actions that you can take in your own communities, to look and connect with students in other areas, and how maybe you can bring a project that you saw to your school. We would love to help make those connections. Have a wonderful day. Happy Earth Day. Oh, Mary, you almost made me forget to do the cheer. So what we usually do at the end of our global video conferences is we all unmute and we yell, decarbonize, decolonize. So Mary, are you still here? Because Mary led us through the streets of Madrid. Someone local gave her a bullhorn. I don't know if it's one of those like loud amplifier voice things. I don't know if everyone calls it a bullhorn or what you call it in your language. And so she's in Madrid. We're marching, all of us representing different countries. And she's like, decarbonize, decarbonize. So I'm going to get her to lead us through the cheer today. So if you guys would like to unmute your microphones, it's going to be a craziness of sound, but we would love to chant our way out of today. So go ahead, Mary.
Okay, everybody, decarbonize, decolonize. When I say decarbonize, everybody can
Decarbonize, decolonize.
Carbonize, decolonize.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.